Yo. All right. The comments and questions left on this Monday's video were fantastic. I have so much to work with. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you taking the time to shoot me some ideas. So let's see. I'm going to dive into the fifth one today, which is from Desiree. And she says, having 2 kids back to back, I have no core strength. Can you show me some good core exercises to help me get rid of mommy tummy? I sure can. All right, there's a couple things that could be going on with your core postpartum. There's something called Diastasis Recti, which is essentially the separation of the rectus abdominis, which are these outer ab muscles when you think of six-pack abs. Before we dive into anything else, we're going to go ahead and show you a simple test to see if this is what you have going on. Lie flat on your back. All right, palm facing you. Go ahead and take 3 fingers, press in directly above the belly button, and lift your head, neck, and shoulders off the mat. When you do this, you should feel the muscles close around in on your fingers, okay? It should feel kind of tight, right? Shouldn't feel too soft and squishy. Be careful, because if you do have it, then you may be pressing on internal organs. All right, we're aiming for 1 to 2 finger gap or less. If it's more, don't freak out. Basically, what happens during pregnancy is the intra-abdominal pressure forces your abs to separate. The second thing that could be going on as well, which is more than likely, is that your core muscles have basically atrophied, that they have weakened so much due to lack of use and or never learning how to properly engage them in the first place. So I'll recap about everything at the end of this video, but in the meantime, let me go ahead and dive into anatomy. Okay, real quick, let's go over the anatomy of the abdominal muscles. The first one is the rectus abdominis. I've already touched on that. That's the outermost layer, if you will. They're the ones that you think of when people say six-pack abs. They flex the spine. They help stabilize the trunk. They're used in movements like sit-ups, right? Leg raises, stuff like that. They're the ones that should be avoided if you have the diastasis recti. Next one we're going to talk about is the external obliques and internal obliques. Okay, they work together. They allow spine flexion, torso rotation, side bends, compression. So they're also very important for the compound lifts and protecting the spine. You can see side bends there. Exactly. They're opposite side rotators, so the internal works while the external works on the other side, and so on and so forth. Last one is the transverse abdominis, the most important for what we're going to talk about today. All right, this is what I like to call your natural weight belt. It's the deepest layer, and they run horizontally, okay? The muscle fibers run horizontally, and they're involved in respiration, organ compression, and they also help, obviously, stabilize the spine. All right, first things first. Most of us work desk jobs and have kind of gotten into poor posture habits, right? So before we do anything else, you got to make sure you're in proper alignment and you can achieve the proper position before we go into some of these movements, before we go any further, okay? Standing from the side, we're going to set from the top down. I want your head nice and high, okay? Right? Shoulders back and down, right? Now you probably feel your rib cage coming up. Squeeze the glutes, boom. Suck that belly button in, okay? All right, now that you know how to get your body in proper position, I want to show you the best movement to learn how to engage and strengthen your transverse abdominis, which is that deeper horizontal layer, your natural weight belt, okay? It's called a vacuum, and what you're going to be doing is essentially expelling all the air out of your lungs, and you're going to be drawing your belly button in as far as you can. All right, think about the belly button area and think about the area below. You're trying to draw it in to the spine. You're going to hold it for as long as you can while taking little cheap breaths and then let it out. Start with 15-second holds, maybe 5 sets, work up from there, okay? See that? A couple breaths, draw it in, hold, 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 hold. Try to pull everything in and up under the rib cage. Hold, cheater breath. Try to draw it in even further each time, okay? once you can successfully do the vacuum for 5 sets of 30 seconds per set, I want you to go ahead and do something called the vacuum twist. Not only is this going to engage the transverse abdominis, we're also going to get some of the obliques involved and better touch on the rectus abdominis. All right, the vacuum twist. Same thing as a regular vacuum, okay? Make sure your body's in proper alignment. Let out all your air. Pull that belly button in. Once you get into that position, I want you to rock side to side, trying to engage and feel those obliques. Each time you rock, you should be trying to cinch your belly in more and more. You can actually see the muscles start to engage and flex to a greater degree, okay? Don't move the hips. Rotate only at the waist. Good. Let's move on to planks. Now that you've learned how to control your inner abdominal wall, I want you to learn how to do a standing plank, very similar to what I showed you with getting your body in proper alignment. Belly button in, shoulders back and down, squeezing the quads, squeezing the glutes. Okay, see how everything's in line? Now that we've achieved this, we can go to a plank on the ground. Dorsiflex the ankles first, squeeze the quads, squeeze the butt. It looks like I'm rounded, but I'm actually drawn in perfectly. There you go. I try to get down a little bit better. In a second here, I'm going to show you what it's like to lose control of the inner abdominal wall, and I will allow myself to sink into my lower back, which immediately right there causes pain. Boom. So that's the problem a lot of you have. You're not able to engage those deep core muscles, right? There we go. That's beautiful. If you are going to have issues with that plank position, which is fine, grab a bench, the bed, countertop, whatever, achieve that plank position at that angle, okay? And once you're able to hold it, go ahead and try these leg raises here. They look very similar to mountain climbers. That's essentially what they are, but they're under control. Okay, once you've successfully learned to protect your spine and engage that inner abdominal wall, it should be safe to move on to exercises that target the rectus abdominis, specifically, i.e. anything that flexes the spine. Okay, so getting ready to show you some leg raises here. Stay tuned for the conclusion. I'm going to wrap up everything that I talked about. I know it was kind of choppy. That was an interest of time. This video should really probably go on for 30 minutes with as much detail as there is revolving the core and especially postpartum, but I want to touch on everything to give you an idea of where to start. All right, guys, I briefly touched on a few different things related to this topic. Really, this topic needs more like a 30-minute video with a blog post associated to it, because there's really so much information and so many different things that could be going on. But the main takeaway from this is that your core muscles are weak, which you already know. You do not know how to engage them, most likely, and your body's not in proper alignment. So research and play around with your posture, figure out how to get your body into that proper position, and then learn how to engage that inner abdominal wall, i.e. the transverse abdominis. You have to learn how to pull everything in, suck everything in, compress, and draw everything tight. That diastasis, I can never say it, recti, where the abs separate, can be very serious and you can hurt yourself. So do the test, look into it, make sure you're cleared from a doctor or by a doctor before you start any of this stuff, okay? If you're good to go, then the first thing I want you to do, again, I keep saying this, work on tightening that inner abdominal wall, okay? And then we'll progress on from there. So your homework is find proper posture, work on holding your posture throughout the day. Step 2, learn how to perform a vacuum, right? Work up to 5 sets of 30 seconds per set. Step 3, learn how to perform vacuum twists. Same thing as a vacuum before, but you're incorporating that side-to-side motion where your hips stay straight, they do not move, and you're only rotating at the core, trying to engage those obliques and draw everything in tighter and tighter and tighter. After just a couple times of this, you will see that you start to learn how to control those muscles, and you'll actually notice that in a very short amount of time, your abdominal region will shrink drastically. It's very, very cool, very neat. Once you feel like you've built up enough strength and control of those inner muscles, then we can start to work on a plank, work on a standing plank, right? Which is, again, getting your body in that position, drawing everything in. It's everything we just said, but doing it at the same time, okay? Next progression, do it on a bench or a countertop or a bed, something like that, right? And then you can work into those slow and controlled mountain climbers, okay? Do those for 5 sets or so, 30 seconds to a minute each. Once you're done that, or once you've completed that, you can work in on the ground planks, all right? Once you think that you've established enough control and that you can protect your spine and lower back, and that you've lost enough weight, then you can move on to some of the other abdominal exercises. So the main thing is diet, get down to a healthy weight, okay, and train your inner abdominal wall. If you take care of all that, once you get down to that weight, throwing in the things like the sit-ups and the leg raises and the other things that target that six-pack look will become much easier. So focus on the small stuff now, the things that you can do in the shower, at work. You know, there's vacuums you can do all throughout the day. You can walk around with your stomach sucked in, right? All day. Focus on that. Okay? Thank you for watching.
Find us on overdosefitness.com, on Facebook at OverDoseFitnessMD, Instagram at ODFitLife. 2018 Team Rip It Ambassador, ripitevents.com, Maryland Base Race Events.